Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, of course, to the Time Bomb channel with your charming host, the Bombardier. Hope all is good in your part of the world. And I've been lent this really rather stunning little piece of history to share on the channel today in this rather special Omega. I confess, I think I had to do quite a lot of research and background digging, to learn a little bit more about what it is that we're looking here. And I have to say, I absolutely find that truly fascinating. I think I'm really fortunate to have the opportunity to get watches like this, and then have to forces me to dig up some information on them. I think one of the curious factoids that I came across when I was looking for this one is that during World War II, Mega delivered more than 110,000 pilots, navigators, soldiers' watches to the British Ministry of Defence to support, the soldiers, airmen during service. Suggesting perhaps then that our Teutonic cousins, let quite a lot of trade flow through from Switzerland into the UK. Just a little bit of an oddity for me. Let me just zoom in here so we can get a better shot of the watch. So watches of World War II have been heavily documented. There's loads of stuff out there about these guys, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just to add a little bit of brief background on the Omegas, or the watches that Omega made for the Flyboys. I think the design brief that was given to Omega by the MOD was for white dial, black Arabics, center seconds, and then blued steel non-luminous hands. And the most famous of these Flyboy Omegas, and widely used, I think, was the RAF version, the CK2292. It's fascinating to learn that within that watch, Omega used a new alloy in the balance spring, which was considerably more resistant to magnetism. Kind of useful when you're sat in a Spitfire cockpit, surrounded, by or sitting on a Rolls-Royce engine and surrounded by sheets of metal. And then also, I found this one, which was quite interesting, is the CK2129, which you may have spotted on Tom Hardy's wrist in the movie Dunkirk. However, the one that we're looking at here today, this particular model, is the HS8. The HS in that standing for hydrographic service, and then the 8 simply referring to wristwatch. These HS8s were issued to pilots of the Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm from 1943 onwards, and may suggest that this was used by a pilot flying off of aircraft carriers. Could have been in the Med, the Pacific, or even escorting those Atlantic convoys. It would be amazing to have met the original owner, just to find out his or her history, and what the journey that this watch has been on. Let's just, as always, kick off with some key specs on these. So as you can probably see through, in relation to the size of my hands and fingers, it's quite a petite watch. It's just a mere 33 mils across. That's without the crown, but the crown is, doesn't protrude, anything significant. Again, quite a modest 43 mils north to south, 11.5 mils deep, but most of that is given away, I think, to that huge dome crystal on the top there. The luggage is fairly standard for watches of that era at 18 mils, and these versions differ, other than obviously just the nomenclature of the HS on the rear, which I'll show you here. But they differed from the RAF versions in that they come on the case body is brass that is then nickel plated, and it then has this solid stainless steel case back. And the reason being is that they hold the case bodies hold greater water resistance, and it's a kind of useful if you're flying off of an aircraft carrier. The spring bars, I understand, on these came in two versions: the fixed even, or the removable springs. But this one, as you can see there, has had a little alteration caused to it. The lug just at the bottom here has been shorn off. Discussing with the owner, we were sort of toying with the idea that might have been, the effect of ACAC, or the attentions of the Kriegsmarine, perhaps. But obviously, a very generous watchmaker has obviously fixed that, just so that the owner has been able to carry on using the watch without making any other significant changes to it. Buzzing away inside, then we've got the Omega 16 dual 30TC movement. And as you can see, it's not working massively at the moment. If we give it a little bit of a shake, it does kick off again, but the owner is going to be attempting a service on this. So it certainly does need a little bit of TLC on the innards there. It's difficult to show you on camera here, so I might have to put up a still shot. The nomenclature on the back. So we've got then the HS, the broad arrow, and then the 8, and then the issue number, which is 8321. The dial, as you will have seen before, carrying quite a heavy presence of patina. It almost looks like mother of pearl now, but these things came originally, as I mentioned before, with that that white dial, very subtle, railroad train track, minute track, just off the edge of the dial there. It's quite difficult to see because obviously with the distortion that you get here. Very, very cool steel, blued hands. And again, they're obviously the patina covering those is. There, we're just trying to get a better shot. There you can see the blue still quite prominent and strong through there. Nice to see. Yeah, I mean, I'll throw it back on the NATO just so that I can pop it on wrist for you, so you can actually see what it looks like, what it would have been worn. It is quite petite. 1 second. Just being gentle with that damaged lug. I don't want to force the spring bar at all. Yeah, and also just for reference, we're rocking the 5000U. I did end up putting it on the composite, and I think it works brilliantly. But I'll talk more about that in another vid. That's not why we're here today. We're looking at the Omega, and I've gone and put it on the NATO the wrong way around. Let's try that one again. Okay, so on wrist then. Again, just as always for reference, my wrist is 7¼ inch. Bit of a shame because the watch does look almost somewhat diminutive on wrist. But I think that's completely trumped by the history, the memories, and the journeys that this little beauty has been on, and just the sort of the part of it in history that it plays. Absolutely superb. As always, guys, as I say, I'm an amateur watch lunatic. So if you have any additional background on these watches or their brethren models, please do drop a comment down below and add some reference here for everyone. That would be much appreciated as always. And yeah, thanks again to the owner for allowing us that chance just to grab hold of piece of history from 1943. Really beautiful piece of horological history. There we go. All right, guys, up until the next vid, this is your host, the Bombardier, signing off. Cheers.